For the first time in nearly 200 years, the elves have been heard from. The silence from the north has been broken, and an ambassador is coming to the capital city of Exesa. For what purpose the elves wish to speak with the new king is unknown, but the gates have been opened, and the city makes preparation for visitors. A convoy has been escorted from the northern border of the kingdom to the heart of the land where the capital city resides, following the King's River down the middle of the realm. About 3 miles out from the city proper, the ambassador is set to meet a new guard who will escort him into the city, to the palace, and back again safely. Who better to carry out potentially the most important bodyguard mission in recent remembrance than the greatest soldiers the kingdom has, the Knights of Exesa. As the noon sun begins to reach its zenith, we find 3 figures, 2 on horse, 1 on pony, waiting and watching as the carriage bringing their charge approaches. Unati, would you like to describe your character for us, please?
I am a tiefling. I am roughly 5'8" tall. I have styled my hair this morning in a twist out because I didn't have time to do my fro. I woke up a little bit late. It's unusual, but it happens. Didn't sleep well. I am wearing black leather armor with my chainmail on top. I am covered to the hilt in blades. I like my knives. I always carry all of them. You always need your blades. I have a small pouch where only close people know this, where I keep my spices, just in case we need to eat something. It needs to be delicious. There's no need to eat like, savages when you're on the road. A little bit of saffron, a little bit of cilantro, it's important. I am waiting patiently for my envoy to arrive. And I'm a little bit grumpy this morning.
And what is your character's name?
My name is Thoko Maliza.
Thoko?
Yes.
Next to you is a human woman. Shannon, if you would like to describe your character.
All right, well, my name is Scylla, but the real name's Sillavaana, but I don't use that. I just like Scylla. I'm about 30 years old, pretty buff, my hair is in a long side braid. That's how I usually like to do it, nothing fancy. Wearing darker colors, black, gray, brown. Just proud to be a part of the Knights, I guess.
And then next to the two of you, on a smaller steed, sits a shorter halfling man. Joe, would you like to describe your character?
Yes, Wolfram is very small, obviously, but very armed, like completely decked out in plate armor. He's got 2 swords on his back, short swords. For him, they're like regular sized swords, but they're on his back, kind of crossed like this. He has the same emblem of 2 crossed. They're actually this way, 2 crossed swords on his chest, like as a coat of arms, and some little bits of red on him. Very much like a traditional knight. Very shiny armor, clean. The one thing that's interesting is he's got little round spectacles. So it gives him this kind of professorial kind of look that is weird, a weird juxtaposition with the armor. But yeah, he's just kind of looking straight ahead, very on duty, just a classic knight. So
as the 3 of you sit and wait for the carriage bringing your charge to approach, it's maybe 2 minutes away at this point, coming up over the hills. Following now at this point, some of the newer road that has been built out from the center of the city as part of King Usteman's push to build a unified road system out across the kingdom. So the cart is now kind of traveling a little more smoothly as it comes towards you. But as it begins to approach, what do you all do?
I immediately reach for my scimitar. I'm not drawing it. I just want to be ready.
I will also put a hand on my blade that is at my waist.
All right. After a couple minutes of silent waiting, the carriage makes its way up the cobblestone to you all, pulls up short, and with it are several other knights, not the Knights of Exesa, but just kind of standard knights and soldiers who have been escorting it down from the north. So there's about 5 or 6 different soldiers that are kind of scattered around it. They all kind of peel off and move to the side, and you see a hooded figure that is sitting on the carriage driving it. So this is an enclosed carriage where the ambassador himself would be inside, unobservable by you at the moment, but his driver has this hood up. As he throws it back, you see your very first look in person for any of you at a true-blooded elf. The skin is the color of autumn leaves. His eyes have no whites. They're pure iris, and it almost sparkles like a night sky or an ocean churning. The features are incredibly angular, long chin, long elegant pointed nose, ears that extend far beyond the back of the head to these delicate tips, almost like a cat whisker thin. It is all at once beautiful and very alien to you. He dismounts and walks towards you all, gives you a slight bow, and speaks to you in the common tongue. Welcome, you are to be our guards the rest of the way, correct?
Yes.
Right.
Very well. I was told there was one named Jericho that we would commune with. Is that one of the 3 of you?
No.
Oh.
He is waiting at the palace.
That's right.
Then let us go. And he gets back up on. At this point, you still haven't seen the ambassador inside, just his driver.
Are there windows on the carriage?
I'd like to check that actually, just because I asked the driver.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean to offend, but may I please conduct a search of your carriage?
Very well. If you would like, so there are little windows. They have curtains that are drawn currently. There's like 1 or 2 windows on each side. If you would like to investigate, go ahead and
please.
Describe that and roll an investigation check.
So what I would like to do is I'd like to look underneath the carriage.
Okay.
I'd like to jump on top of it, look at the top. I want to look at this thing because no one's smuggling nonsense into my country. I don't like these elves. I don't like them. And then I want to knock on the window and just have the person inside just open a bit so that I can see them.
Sure. So go ahead and roll an investigation check. If anyone would like to help, you can roll that with advantage.
I will help.
Okay.
Thank you.
And first roll of the game. Here we go.
Nat 20.
Oh.
Yeah. And a nat 1. So thanks for the advantage.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Let's hope that that's not prophetic for the rest of the, rest of the session.
Yeah.
So, what does a nat 20 bring you to total?
A nat 20 will bring me total to 1 sec. I was enjoying looking for my dice and being a dice goblin. Investigation. A nat 20.
Okay.
Yeah, just now.
But that's still a nat 20. So you look around and you check the undercarriage, you check on top, you check the baggage that's on the back with their supplies. There is there are things you don't recognize, certain things that you think could potentially be like of a religious symbology. There's some food stuff that even you are not familiar with, as far as like types of dried food, potentially things from their land. But you don't find anything untoward. You don't find anything that you would think would be smuggling, any weaponry that's out of the norm. It seems fairly safe. You go to rap on the window, and after a brief moment, the curtain pulls back a little bit, and another one of these with a little bit of a darker complexion, long, elegant figured elves kind of pokes his head forward and just looks at you for a moment, and you lock eyes, and then he nods and pulls the curtain back.
Excellent. I'm satisfied. Are you satisfied, Wolfram and Scylla?
Looks good to me.
Yes, very satisfied.
Excellent. I speak to the driver and say we can continue. And when we arrive, I'd like to see if I could have one or two of your spices. They are unusual, and I'm always looking for something new to add to a dish.
Roll a persuasion check. He's giving you a really weird look right now.
That is 15.
Okay, he looks and kind of goes, I will see what I can do.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And then I get onto my steed, like totally unfazed.
All right, so you all begin to head towards the city itself. You're about 3 miles out. It's, a little bit of a journey here in, but not too terribly long. So within like half an hour or so, you find yourself coming up to the city itself. Before you lies the great city of Exesa. Its tall, arched walls, light gray in color, obscuring most of the first ring of the city from your vantage point. But even above these high walls, you can see the long, pointed spires of the heaven trees, a series of towers scattered across the city with thin bridges strung between them. It creates almost the impression of an elegant architectural spider's web that hangs over the city. The red banners of Alçon fly high from embattlements and drape over the walls. The main gates of the city are open, with several guards standing outside, and one very familiar figure standing next to his horse, waiting for you, one that you have not seen in some time. Nur-D, would you describe your character, please?
Oh, but of course. So old Jericho Black is a human male. He's got a dark black skin, as the knight is. He's got his hair in the dreads, as the style goes. And he's wearing a outfit of black. It looks like it made from a beastie, you see. He had to do it himself. It is got these little tentacle straps that go down on either side. Seems like this thing could have been something different. It almost seems as if, as the light hits the man, he goes more ways, double time in multiple places. It's kind of hard to pin him down, but for the moment, you see him fully. He's got a bright smile on his face, and a few trinkets here and there. Nothing too fancy, just to let him know that he's someone that should be listened to, and then where he keeps his little monies in his little friend here, who's not too bad of a guy.
As the caravan comes up and stops now at the gate, and Jericho makes his way around and sees all of you. You're all familiar with each other because, when you joined Scylla a couple of years ago to the Knights, the 4 of you were a unit. 4 of you were a group that would always work together. Since that time, Jericho has been promoted, reassigned to the court itself, and spend a lot more time with the king rather than out on mission. So it's been some time since you've seen each other, at least for an extended period. But he, I assume, nods and says hello to all of you.
Well, look what the kitty brought in for the door. It's been a minute since I've seen you lovely faces. Hello, Shell. Little
So
man.
long. How are you?
Oh, we have been having a pretty good time out here in the court, making sure things run smoothly. How are things out in the mud?
Muddy.
As I'd expect. As I expect. Is this the people that we bringing in here?
Yes, Jericho, it is. I hope that your court life hasn't made you too soft.
Oh, I'm as delicate as a rose petal. That's how I always be. But it's good to see you. Looks like you haven't lost your spice there, Shell.
Never.
That's what I like about you. So, let me quick introduce myself to these lovely guests in our fine city.
And at this point, the elf driving the cart has gotten off, and the ambassador has stepped out of the carriage. Now that you're able to see him fully, he is wearing these long robes that are almost tailored to like hug his thin frame. But it's perfectly laying, and it is in such a way that it almost creates this like column effect where he stands and is just long straight lines, beautiful embroidery of blue and silver and gold all the way through it. It's almost impossible the way that it just perfectly stands there as if it was on a mannequin. But he moves forward with grace. The driver behind him just a step, and he addresses you, Jericho. I assume you are the one called Jericho that we are to meet.
That's what my mama called me, and so far everybody else has done the same. It is nice to meet you.
My name is Ambassador Eluin. This is my servant Vestel.
Nice to meet you both. Welcome to this fine city.
Thank you.
I'll be making sure that we get you exactly where you need to go, exactly when you need to be there.
Well, we need to be at the palace, and we need to be there as soon as possible to speak with your king.
Of course. And may I say, I really enjoy the outfit you got there. Your robe is giving me the envie. I like it a lot.
He kind of looks you up and down, is like, and then turns and walks back to the carriage and gets in.
Okay.
He's a sour one, that one.
A little pas too loud, but we're gonna make it happen. Don't worry about it. People take a second to warm up to old Jericho, but it always happens.
The driver gets back on the carriage. You all get on your steeds and begin to make your way into the city. The gates close behind you, and you are now inside the very, very familiar walls of Exesa. The most interesting thing right now is how quiet it is. There is usually a lot of hustle and bustle in the city, especially around noontime, as it is now. It's not that there aren't people. They are lining the streets, but it is almost dead silent as the city watches this ambassador from the elves come through. The driver has not put his hood back up, so his long features are all on full display. And that is the first bit of sound that you begin to hear as people murmur and speak and point and look at this new-looking type of creature that has come into their city. You all know that tension has been very high coming into this day. The wars with the elves have left scars, and it has been almost 200 years since they've been heard from. You are all on high alert for something that might happen during this time. They wouldn't have brought in the Knights of Exesa unless they thought there might be danger. So, at this point, we have your very first tactical decision to make. There are two potential routes that you have mapped out as far as how you could bring the ambassador to the palace. The first route is through the main road of the city, kind of almost dead center. It's going to have the most room. It's going to have the most ability to kind of get off into different side areas and whatnot. It's also going to have the most people. That's where most everybody is lining up. The second option is a route that you have mapped out that goes around a little ways. It's going to take a little bit longer. It's going to take you through some tighter, more narrow areas. But it's not going to be as heavily populated and perhaps a little bit more discreet. So, Knights, what would you like to do?
I'm torn. If we stay with more people, I mean, it's more populated and people won't try as many things, but at the same time, that could be the perfect time to attack. What do you guys think?
I mean, if we go down narrow streets, we run the risk of being bottlenecked and ambushed. At least, if an ambush would happen in broad daylight, then, more soldiers, at least the police force would be notified. Someone help would come. And DM, the city layout, are there in the sort of main street, are there lots of buildings and stuff lining it?
There are, yep. So there's, it's a very dense city. There aren't a lot of big open courtyards. And even where there's going to be, little canals that go through or monuments and whatnot. So there's even in the wider areas, there's stuff to get around and get behind.
Okay, because I speak to my fellow knights. I could potentially run up onto the ceilings and move slightly ahead, scouting, looking for any potential threats. If I see anything untoward, I can immediately hit them with my crossbow, and then jump down and join you guys in the fray, alerting you to any coming threat.
That's a good plan. I like it.
I've been out in the field for quite some time now. This is the city. Well, we don't necessarily got to be worried about people jumping from the shadows in the middle of the day. Besides, this is the first time a lot of people have seen something so elegant. Why not give them a show, yeah?
Well, that's exactly the reason. That's exactly the reason.
I believe a case could be made for discretion in this case. Sorry, not discretion. What is discreet?
Discretion?
I think it's discretion. I think you're right.
Discretion.
I'm using English well.
Yeah.
For stealth in this case. Not to draw a lot of attention to ourselves. I think it would behoove us.
Yeah. Excellent.
I think that caddy's already out of the bag, little man.
I will move unseen. No one will spot me, Jericho. It's been a while since you've been in the field. You forget that I am the knight, even in the day.
It's true. She is one of the most stealthy people I know.
Yeah, I think we should give ourselves some space.
All right, Shell. I'll let you do what you think you need to do. I'll just be sure to keep your horse just trotting along for you.
Thank you. Please look after her. And she seems hungry today. Has there been shenanigans in the stables?
Oh, I don't really take a whole lot of time to be hanging around the Sarah. Oh, Jerry Black's only in the stables for one particular reason, and it is not to check on the horses, if you know what I mean.
Oh, you haven't changed at all.
Oh, not at all, not at all. Don't plan on it, don't really plan on it.
Can I jump up into the buildings?
You can. Yeah, so I'll say that I'm not gonna make you roll an athletics check or anything. You're not in the middle of combat or anything. I will have you roll a stealth check to get up there and stay moderately hidden.
Oh hell yeah! I will roll you a stealth check. And that is another nat 20, making it a 31.
31! Oh my
31.
God!
31. Yeah, I am the knight.
Okay, the knight in the day. You are undetected. You are unseen. They did not even see you getting up into the roofs, let alone disappear your way in there. The roofs themselves are fairly, traversable. It's a well-built city. You're not worried about falling through or anything like that. From up in your vantage point, I would like you to go ahead and roll a perception check with advantage to basically scout the crowd and see if you notice anything.
With advantage.
Anyone else who wants to roll perception checks can also do so, but just at normal.
That is a 16.
16? Okay.
Yeah. A little baby 16. Only a +1.
Guess
Perception.
I'll roll too.
Perception, yeah.
Yeah, I got a 14.
14?
18.
Okay. 18, okay.
11.
11. Scylla, you are scanning the crowd, and everyone seems on edge, but more curious than anything else. As you're going through, you pass one person whose eye catches your attention just a little bit, only because they just seem to not be as taken in with everything. You see a kind of stout, perhaps human, perhaps half-dwarf man with a long beard, very pale skin, shaved heads, so it has kind of like this long mohawk type hair. No shirt on, which is kind of the other thing that catches your attention. It's not completely uncommon, but most people are clothed. And he's just kind of clocking everything. He doesn't make any moves or any aggressiveness. He just kind of clocks as you go by.
All right, I'll kind of like whisper as much as I can to my companions. 3 o'clock, keep an eye on that guy. He's giving me the creeps.
So Wolfram and Jericho would have been able to hear that.
Yep.
Thoko is up on the roofs and is unable to...
Yep, yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
You all continue going. It's about 12-15 minutes of travel through the city at this pace to get to the palace itself. You keep your heads on a swivel. The crowd kind of fills in behind you at times, and like...
Is that guy following?
Make another perception check.
17.
17. You feel like maybe you catch him one other time, but the crowd, like I said, is starting to fill in behind you, and he's not terribly tall, so it's hard to tell for sure. You've certainly lost his exact position.
Ooh, DM, real quick.
Yeah.
How's the road making our way up to the thing? Is it bumpy? Is it smooth? What are we thinking?
Overall, I mean, for a medieval road, it's pretty well maintained. I mean, it's like a cobblestone, so it's not super smooth, but no, the road system in Exesa is a point of pride. So it's pretty well maintained.
I'm gonna go ahead and I guess activate my obviator's lenses.
Okay.
And if I'm reading this right, it just means that when I need it, it gives me advantage on perception checks.
Sure.
Because I can see things like really far away.
Sure.
So I'm going with the eagle's sight.
Sounds good. Do you want to go ahead?
Actually, no. It's either one. Eyes of the eagle or the other.
Yeah, your level, it gives you both. Yep.
Yeah. So, I guess I'll just roll another perception check with advantage.
Yeah, now knowing with Scylla having said that there's someone suspicious, you activate.
Yeah, I'd like to look back at him and see if I can see if he's moved, even though he's kind of past our...
Yep.
Roll the exact same thing twice. So it'd be another 14.
Yeah, no, you don't catch him, unfortunately. The eagle sight goes in tight, and it's like when you look through binoculars into a crowd, it's like you can't quite find where you're looking, and kind of you zoom back out a bit and figure it out, and you've lost him at this point. Yes.
May I do another scan from the roofs? Have you moved on a bit?
Yep, you can. With perception.
Is that normal? Or
no, with advantage again. You've got a good height advantage on everyone to see what's going on.
Okay, cool. That is 19.
19. Okay. You did not hear Scylla's warning about this man, but independently, you catch a figure who, even as everyone else is kind of pushing around and pointing and looking and talking, this figure is just kind of weaving his way through the crowd with purpose.
Okay, I'm gonna stay up on the roofs, but I'm really just gonna keep my eye on him.
Okay.
I just keep checking back for him while scanning.
Yep.
That's it.
Sounds good. Jericho.
I'm gonna talk to my friends here and say, are we looking for an audience here, or are we trying to keep people at a particular distance?
I mean, as long as they're not getting in our way, I don't see the harm in them. They've never seen anybody like this before.
Okay. I'm definitely fine.
I think it's beneficial for the common man to see people who are different from himself, so he can learn and be educated.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
I'm gonna look ahead and see if I can see anything up ahead of us.
Okay.
Same thing through my.
Sounds good. Perception check with advantage.
Man, I keep doing that. All right, so it'd be 25.
25. Okay. You look up ahead, and you are coming up on the palace itself now. You see a couple guards that are there to greet you at the actual palace gate. You look and don't see any suspicious people, just normal commoners along the sides. And to your point, Scylla, the knights being here with the carriage, like no one's crowding. Everyone's giving a pretty decent berth. Yeah, Jericho, your point as well. You command enough respect and enough fear that they are not trying their luck right now.
Are we at the gate?
You're very close.
I'm very close. I don't know. I just want to be extra. Can I jump down from the building and land in like a superhero landing?
Yeah. Go ahead and roll an athletics or acrobatics check.
Acrobatics. Oh, I'm a rogue. I'm gonna take that one. I'm gonna take my plus. Oh no, wait. I'm gonna go athletics. I'm gonna take my plus 10. It is a 19.
Okay. Yeah. Boom. 3-point landing. Hair kind of out a bit. Cloak just billows and then settles down slowly, like when you do a tablecloth.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna take my cloak off my head and just kind of like scan the crowd, and then while I scan the crowd while I'm also looking for that dude, and then if I find him, clock eyes with him. Okay. And give him like a back off look.
Okay, perception check, not with advantage because you're down at crowd level now.
Okay.
I gave that about an 8. I've seen you do better, but that was pretty good.
Thanks, Scylla. I did not stick the landing.
It's close.
That's a 17 on perception.
Okay, 17. You look through the crowd. Everybody backs up, and there's a couple little claps. But you do not see the figure in question.
Cool. That's fine. Okay.
The guards come up and speak to you, Jericho, and let you know that they're here to, help escort everybody into the palace. So you all go through the gates into the first kind of atrium of the palace itself. This is kind of a large rotundra-like area with high ceilings and some benches along the outside. There's a nice echoey effect that goes on in here. There's a lot of stone and marble. Beyond here are the gates to the first inner sanctum, or the doors to the first inner sanctum. From there, so everybody gets out of the carriage, goes into the rotundra. From there, you are instructed that you will wait here in the rotundra while the ambassador speaks to the king inside. So you see the doors open. Everyone heads in. Jericho, you looking through, recognize the king at the far end, sitting, King Ustaman. You also see Archmage Trovenru, who is kind of the king's right-hand advisor, who is standing there as well. You do not see the prince, Denton, who is usually with the king, but apparently for this important of a conversation, the young prince has not been invited. But the ambassador and his servant walk in, and the doors close. And the four of you find yourselves waiting in this space for the next little while.
Just to be clear, we're not on our horses anymore.
You're not, no. No, you're all on foot. You're indoors.
We just rode right in.
You could probably fit the pony in there. Probably wouldn't be too much of a stretch.
Yeah. I'm about the size of a tall human when I'm on the pony.
Right.
Aw, I forget how adorable halflings are. It makes me so happy. Is it what's in this room?
Mm-hmm. So this room is a bit of an ornate waiting area.
Okay.
There are art and tapestries along the walls depicting various old battles from the kingdom's history, including some of the old wars with the elves, and the victories that the kingdom had over the elves. There are a couple other doors that go off to the sides to smaller rooms. I mean, this kind of acts like a central area where you can split off into different areas in the palace.
Yeah.
But on the whole, this is a big empty space.
They haven't put out a little spread, nyana, snacks, juice.
Nope.
Past that, I'm gonna turn to Jericho and be like, where did these people learn hospitality? Not even a scone with some cream. What about a cup of tea with a little bit of saffron?
You see, you think come in here, you think it's been a while since you've been out someplace other than a bedroll out in the street. If you're looking for something, I'm sure we can figure something out. Let old Jerry get something for you. Is there a way that I could find someone?
There are a couple guards and stationed at various doors, just kind of doing their, they just stand there sort of thing. So yeah. If you want to ping one of them.
I'll saunter up to one of them. I'm going to press the digitation out myself a cigarette, and I light it at the same time with magic.
Okay.
It's gonna be like at the same time, be like, do I know this guard's name by name?
You don't. None of the guards really go by name. They all wear helmets that kind of like you can see their eyes, but they have like these long kind of pointed helmets, and they're nameless to some degree. But he does turn. I mean, you hold a very high station, so he does turn and look at you as you approach. Yes, sir.
Oh, don't worry about the sir stuff here, my friend here. So, me and my associates in the back, we have a very important job to do. You see. And we are hoping that you can provide us with a little bit of libations. Don't worry, we're not trying to get costed out there. Just something to drink, maybe something to eat, a little bit to wet the whistle. The one back there who was doing all the flips out early on in the street, she can get a little ornery.
He kind of looks over your shoulder at Thoko and is like, yes, sir. And immediately kind of turns and like pokes his head through a door, and you hear a whisper. And then he kind of comes back and is like, something will be brought to you shortly.
I really appreciate that, my friend. Appreciate it. Turn back around and be like, I can only imagine, to the group, I'll be like, I can only imagine they're not letting too many of the servants run around here with such an important dignitary making his way up in here. So it makes a little sense.
No, it does make sense, but it's just unfortunate. I'm sure they are snacking and eating cheese and getting fat inside that room while we do all the work and stuff. I lean over to Wolfram and say, I missed breakfast this morning. I'm getting a little bit hungry.
Oh my, yes. We need to get food ASAP.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
I'm going to set everything on fire.
I love it. That's how I am in real life.
Me too.
Have we been in this particular room before?
Oh yeah, many times. I mean, so Jericho works at the palace, but the Knights are in and out quite often. And it's not that you haven't seen Jericho, you just haven't had like any actual work with him. Or anything. So you're familiar with where you are,
Got it. So Jericho, what you been up to?
Oh, simply doing what I need to be doing, making sure the whole country runs on a tip-top schedule. Since I took the time away from the little band of monster hunters and whatnot, I've been able to acquire myself a little bit of a station here, making sure that the king is getting what he needs, and a little tiny prince there, he gets what he needs as well. Running things around the castle, around the city. What about you? Seen any, I don't know, what are you guys looking for now? Talking trees or something?
I mean, well, we saw one of those a couple weeks ago, but that wasn't even the half of it. We saw some real big flying thing. I forget the name of it. Yeah, a couple weeks right before that. It was just had wings. That's really all I remember. Just fighting it, and then
many wings. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't miss it at all. No, it's nice to be able to sleep in a normal bed and have a nice meal outside of the, the dirt and the grime, and it's hard to get blood off your clothes.
They just buy new clothes.
I mean,
Well, I certainly have the money for it now.
I'm sure you do.
After a few moments, a little table is brought in with a jug of wine, another jug of mead, some kind of simple meats and vegetables and fruits, and a little loaf of bread. And all of that is kind of laid out for you. Servant kind of bows and walks back out the door. Around the same time as they're finishing up putting the spread out, the other door on the left-hand side of the rotundra, if you were first walking in, opens up, and out walks the prince, Prince Denton. So he's a halfling prince. He's about 17 years old, young, but has already kind of gained a bit of a reputation for himself as very wise for his age, very shrewd. As far as future leaders go, people have a good feeling about Prince Denton. And so he walks up. Oh, hello, everyone. Jericho, how are you doing?
I bow in the respectful sense
he kind of chuckles and bows back.
It's good to see you, little prince. I'm doing quite well. The big day here in the castle.
Big day. I'm a little frustrated that my father wouldn't let me be in on the conversations, but...
Nah. Don't you be far shade, my little man. Just give it a little time, yeah? You're about to be sitting in a big chair soon enough. Don't rush to take your time in the spotlight until it's your time.
Kind of reaches over and grabs a little bit of cheese from the table and munches on it and kind of looks at the rest of you. He's like, hello, I believe I've met you all in passing before, but forgive me. The names escape me at the moment.
Scylla, Your Highness.
Yes, Wolfram Lighthorn at your service.
I speak through a mouthful of food. Thoko, Maliza.
It's good. It's good cheese. It really is.
It's good cheese.
I wonder what they want.
Yes, your guess is as good as mine, little prince, but I'm sure since they came all this way to have a little conversation, I'm sure talking is definitely in order.
It's just, why now, right? Because it's been 200 years, and I know my father just unified everything a few years ago, but are they worried that we're a threat, or... I don't know.
Either way, no matter what happens, we can hope for peace and discussions for compromise or togetherness. But if that does not come, we shall lay them to waste. It's, we beat them before, we'll beat them again.
Yeah, that.
But obviously, peace is the priority.
Yes, of course. Yes.
The prince spends a little more time in the room with you. He takes a little bit of a liking to you, Wolfram, just both being halflings and both fairly intellectuals. So the two of you spend some time chatting about various kingdom-related matters. After a little while, he takes his leave, and it's a long wait. Like, you all are here for a good 4 to 5 hours, killing time.
Can I show Scylla all of my weapons and look at Scylla's and compare like alloys and
yeah.
Sure, let's do it.
Why don't we? I'm here for this. Why don't we have a little weapon off, little description of what you both have?
Yeah.
So I draw out my double-bladed scimitar. Like, look at this. I sharpened her freshly last night.
It's beautiful.
Look at it, it's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. Yeah. Well, I've got this baby, just brand new, and I'll pull out my I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right, but the Acheron Blade. It's the blade is shiny and black, and there's a little bit of glitter in it. And I also sharpened it this morning, because you never know when we might need it. And once you use it, I haven't used it yet, but I've been told it strikes fear into the heart of whoever you're fighting.
Very, very, very nice. Very nice. I begin to show off my 3 daggers. I'm ready. Like you can throw them, and then here's my crossbow. I've just been practicing, and
Very nice.
and I've left my short swords and my long sword and whatnot at home. I didn't want to be too overburdened with knives.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I've gotten along like her sashes she's got here. She's got darts lying, so she can just like
Very
yeah,
nice.
yeah. Yeah,
Very nice.
these are great.
Maybe like I don't know. I'm gonna like chest bump you like a frat
Yeah,
boy.
yeah. Oh yeah, I do it back for sure.
I'm going to lean over to Wolfram and be like, girls and their toys, man.
I love it.
All right. So
On that-
after, oh, sorry, go ahead.
And I just start talking to Jericho. I'm like, I've been meaning to ask you. I have to say that I envy you and your position here, and that you have such access to this wealth of knowledge that the city has to offer. As libraries, museums, all of those things. I wonder, have you been able to expand your mind on things like that?
Oh, well, old Jerry Black has been able to expand his mind quite a bit, but not necessarily through books and such. I haven't taken a whole lot of time to be sitting in a library reading, though I have been in the library a few times, and I can tell you, it was very enlightening.
Fascinating.
It sure is, little man. You get into a lot of book reading while you out there on the dusty trail.
Oh, I try. I take what I can on the road and do what reading I have time for, but it's hard when we're out fighting monsters and trying to get what little rest we can.
Yes, I do not miss it, yo. I do not miss it a bit. This is the most things I've had to do that didn't involve a cup of wine and a nice conversation. So I don't envy you that much, but I can understand you would have a little bit of the envy of old Jerry Black. Yeah.
All right. So
At this point, can I have like accidentally thrown a dart at their feet, like a dagger at their feet, because I was like trying to show off?
just boing, like right in the middle of the awkward silence. Just boing.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna like pull it back out and like rush back and be like, yeah, I killed a dire wolf with this one.
Yeah,
by myself.
I believe it. You gotta hold on to it though. Like you can't let it just go flying like that.
Yeah, I know, but I was. It's a bit poorly weighted, this one.
All right. Well, we can fix that. We can fix it.
Okay, I'm done. I swear.
I love it. After a little more waiting, some more shenanigans, and filling your bellies a little bit, but not too much, as you want to stay sharp. Several hours goes by, and it's a little bit of a wait. It's a little frustrating at times, but after a while, at about a little before what would normally be dinner time, the sun not starting to set at all, but starting to get just a little bit more orange in its glow. The doors open back up. They open and no one comes through immediately because the guards have opened them, and you can still see the ambassador and the king and the archmage and the ambassador's servant all talking at the far end of the inner sanctum. There's some conversation, and then the ambassador reaches down a hand. King Oosterman reaches up, clasps his wrist, and they both kind of give each other a nod. And the ambassador and his servant begin to walk up towards all of you. The king, if you're looking, kind of disappears off into a side room with the archmage. And within a moment, you all are met by the ambassador and his servant as they kind of give you a nod, and he says, "We shall be on our way."
Well, I'm hoping you had a very nice conversation. It's been lovely so far having you in our fair city.
It has been enlightening. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Let's get you right on back. And I'll start heading them back.
Okay. You all head on out of the palace. They get back into the carriage. You all can get back onto your steeds and essentially head back the way you came if you want. Now, you still have that same option. Do you want to go through the main road where you came. There are more people now kind of pressed up against the palace gates. It has gathered quite a large crowd, and even though it's been hours, since the elves went in, that hasn't stopped people. They're super curious to see, and more people have come and everything, so it's quite a large crowd. Then you have the other route that you had mapped out, which is kind of down into some side streets and alleys to get you around.
I still think we should stick to the main thoroughfare here. It's especially because it's getting dark. I don't think we should be anywhere that's too close,
Yes, I'm inclined to agree. Although it does bear just merely pointing out that maybe if we changed it up a bit, we might, drop some people. However, I'm very much team main road, but I don't know. That's what it should be.
I see your point. Is there any way we could split up and make a decoy? I don't know if we should have kind of figured that out before we started walking, I guess, but
yeah. I think splitting up with just the four of us is probably not that wise.
Yes, I think we should all stay with the cart to protect the ambassador. I do think that maybe changing our route would make sense, just to keep any potential enemies on their toes.
It does make sense.
Yeah, but if they're a good enemy, they'll be expecting that.
True. But then would they expect us to expect it, and then when we go down the main road, that's what they were expecting?
I don't know. This conversation is not what I expected, so let's just pick a route and go.
I think maybe people would be slightly more hesitant to attack when so many civilians are about. However, I am concerned about collateral damage, because if I have to fight and fulfill my task, I'm going to fight. And then I don't want to hurt any innocents.
In that case, I would strongly urge that we go the less populated route.
Yeah, there's kids and families and stuff about, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not accidentally beheading some 4-year-old. Let's just
And just thinking about my sister in that regard, yeah.
Yeah.
I should probably. Yeah, all right, fine. Let's go the less crowded way.
Jericho, thoughts?
Accidentally behead someone. I'm not trying to rain on your little parade there. I'm not one for using the blades myself. I find it a little too garish there. However, I gotta say, y'all are taking you're not taking these people into consideration. This is our country, people. These are our people. They know us. They know at least me. I have a feeling that if they thought something was going to pop off, they weren't going to do it in front of all these faces here. And as a little point of reference, we don't want to be taking these brand new elfin people down any dark alleys without letting them know that's what we're trying to do.
That's a real good point. All right, fine. Let's go the regular way. Can we just go, please?
Okay. Okay. I will do my best not to hurt anyone.
I'll do some crowd control if it starts to get out of control. I got you.
Okay. Let's go.
That's mighty neighborly of you.
How do you feel, Wolfram?
I would prefer the less populated route, but as long as we can keep the safety of the people as high a priority as the safety of our ambassador, I think that we'll be all right.
Okay, then I'm gonna have to side with Wolfram. Yeah, I just have to. I have to RP my. I'm gonna have to side with Wolfram, and I'm gonna say that we go down the alleyways, because you've become too soft, Jericho. Maybe you don't have an eye for this fighting anymore.
Oh my God! Somebody just tell me where to go.
Alleyways, Silla, alleyways.
Great. Let's go.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna knock on the door of the people.
Yep.
And I'm gonna be like, my little sorry about this. My jumpy friends are a little afraid of boogeymen and things of that nature. So we're going to be taking you around a little bit a different way than the way you came in. But no need to worry. We got you well in hand. And anything you need, you just mention old Jericho, and I'll be coming right over here for you.
Gives you a nod.
I say, Jericho, I don't think that's a very friendly sort.
Give it a minute. Give it a minute and a half. These people haven't seen us in 200 years either. You got to remember. So they coming into a whole new place, a whole new world, and we're expecting to, sit down at the table, which they done, and now they looking to put their feet up in their own homes. I understand that very much so. I'm looking forward to getting off these streets and back into my cozy bed, and you guys go off into, swamp or something.
And do the real business of keeping a country safe.
Yes, exactly.
It's a growl.
All of this is being talked about as you leave
I really
the
like
carriage.
I know. This is awesome. This is great. Yeah. We're good.
As you lead the carriage off a little bit to the side, kind of pushing the crowd back a bit, and then taking it into a side road. It is much more narrow here. You have already mapped out as part of your preparations for this where you would go. So it's you know the route, but it is a little bit tighter. There are a couple moments where a couple of you have to run, kind of trot ahead a little bit and move a barrel out of the way that had kind of been pushed into the space. But as you're going, there are still some people who kind of saw where you headed and tried to follow a little bit. So there's a little bit of a crowd behind you. There's a couple people who poke their heads out of doors and windows. But on the whole, much less people. A dozen versus hundreds as before.
Do we see that same shirtless guy from before?
Make a perception check.
Can we all do that?
You can.
Yeah,
yep.
I'm gonna be looking at
Natural 20.
Oh, damn.
22.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I got an 8.
I got 21.
21.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
14.
Okay. Wolfram and Scylla, you are looking and you don't see the shirtless man, but there's a little bit of movement all of a sudden up on the left-hand side, up on the roof. Just like a flash.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. Keep your eyes on 7 o'clock. I hope I'm doing that right. I don't know.
Yes.
That way.
Time is
Yes,
different here in the
you
kingdom
are.
of Alçon.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes, you are.
Sundials work differently.
Yeah.
There's a flash up in the left-hand corner. Just keep a sharp eye.
Okay. Are you? Am I hearing this?
Yeah,
you
I'm
would be
saying
able
it to
everyone's
everybody.
down. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. My crossbow is in my fucking hand now. I guess it's in my hand. Oh, that was my one. That was my one. Okay.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It is. We're getting it. I'm very excited.
Started yet.
My crossbow's in my hand.
Love it. I love it.
Should be like a counter. Boop.
Yeah, I will. I'll have a little F word counter in the corner.
Have a counter for me, because honestly, actual sailor.
All right.
And
so
I have my spear at the ready as well.
Okay.
To throw if needed.
Yep, my
Gotcha.
blade's out too.
Gotcha.
Or not out,
am-
but got it on, holding it.
I'm still riding the horse, looking at these 3 jumpy people.
Yep.
What are they doing?
Yep. You're going along. You don't see another flash on the roof. All of a sudden you hear a whistle of something coming through the air. You hear a sound.
Is that an arrow?
That's exactly what that sounded like.
You look around as you watch the driver with an arrow through his neck keel over and fall off of the carriage.
Cool.
As you turn and see this happen, I would like everyone to roll dexterity saving throws as all of a sudden some of the barrels and boxes around the alleyway explode. in large fireballs.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
I didn't want to go this way.
So, really quick.
Yes.
So who is within 10 feet of me?
Of you? I would say 10 feet, probably just Scylla. I'm assuming the two of you are kind of like up at front. And Jericho and Thoko in the back. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Scylla, you get a +1 bonus to your saving throws. Any saving throws while you're close to me.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
And I rolled a 25 on a deck save.
Nice.
Okay.
Rogues. Yep.
I
rolled.
believe that's evasion as well, so you wouldn't take any damage.
Oh, yeah. Great.
I got a 21.
A 21? Okay.
Natural 20.
Oh my gosh, y'all.
Jericho's up in his piece.
All right, Wolfram, you need to get your natural 20 and we can make it all around. And then DM, don't get any natural 20s.
Oh no.
I did not roll very high, even with my bonus, so I got 9.
9.
Okay. Does anyone other than Thoko have evasion? I don't know if that's a monk thing at your level, Scylla.
I don't see it.
Okay. So you'll take no damage. Wolfram, you'll take full. And Jericho and Scylla, you'll both take half. So you'll take half of 34 points of damage. So that is 16 points?
17.
17 for the two of you. And then Wolfram, you're going to take the full 34 points of fire damage. As these explosions rock the alley, it is a tight space. Shrapnel bounces off of walls from either side of you. It deafens your ears for a moment, and the carriage, the wheels just get shattered off. It hits the ground. One of the horses falls dead. The other horse is broken off of and bolts down the alleyway. But the carriage itself has fallen and started to like tip over on its side. The driver is dead on the ground with an arrow through his neck. And you all, as you're kind of reorientating yourself from these explosions, you see different people, cloaked figures with masks across their face, all holding bows as they step up to the edge of the roof and begin to draw back. You are now in a kill box with archers all above you and about to fire down. You look and see, walking towards you, a impossibly unhealthily thin looking woman with dark brown skin, very tight, close black hair. She is wearing kind of like plain brown robes, and she is carrying a scythe with her. As she moves, there's a weird sense to her movement, almost as if, not like glitching or teleporting, but like she's just like twitchy and like moves real fast and then kind of to the next side and kind of keeps twitching around. And she is heading straight towards the carriage.